afternoon, mga katribo, and welcome to another episode of PairFect. I'm Francine.
And I am Dinah.
And this is PairFect.
In today's episode, Francine, we invited a professional when it comes to the hospitality business to enlighten us about what's new in the hotel industry.
Yes, with the ever-fluctuating community quarantine standards.
I know, we all miss traveling.
Yes.
Staycations and
Yes, just a few hours drive away from Manila.
Yeah.
And our guest is the General Manager of Clark Marriott Hotel. Let us welcome Mr. Goeran Soelter. Hello, Goeran.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Welcome to PairFect.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, yes.
So, how's the weather in Clark?
It's a bit overcast, but generally still nice. This morning was sunshine, but now we have some clouds. Beautiful. Still a nice day.
Yeah, still a good time to travel and visit Clark. No, so
Get
much has
some
been
fresh
happening.
air. Yeah, so how's the beginning of 2022 for you and for Clark Marriott in general?
It has been a little bit slower than the end of 2021, to be quite honest, due to the additional restrictions which were put in place for, in order to prevent the spread of Omicron. So it's still okay. Obviously, we got restricted of who can enter the hotel. Only vaccinated persons and normal kids. Which we are really a family-oriented place, and that obviously hurts us quite a bit in our food and beverage operation.
So hopefully things will get better
Yes,
soon.
yes,
We are-
yeah,
Soon.
yes.
At the moment, it looks like that numbers seem to be going down over the past few days. So that is the first sign, and we all hope that towards the end of the month, an announcement can be made, and that hopefully will help us quite a bit.
How's the occupancy of Clark Marriott right now?
Not too much. We have rooms available, so if you want to come up on the weekend,
Wow.
feel free.
That would be the best time, actually.
Actually,
Not so many people
Friends
yet.
are traveling because it's the best time.
Yes.
But of course, go to places where they really practice the proper protocols.
Yes, of course.
So, Goran, we heard that you were in Clark Marriott as GM just before the pandemic happened. How long have you been with the company, and how did you get from Marriott? Because we understand that you've been in the industry for like 3 decades already, starting from your homeland in Germany and now here in the Philippines.
Tell us about your journey.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that is right. I'm in the industry for close to 35 years, out of which really I spent most of my time all with one company, with Marriott. I will be celebrating my 30-year anniversary on the 1st of March this year. So I started out as a chef in the kitchen, as a line cook in a fine dining restaurant in Bermuda, and the journey started from there, and it took me really so far to 15 countries worldwide and on 4 different continents. And I think there's always experiences, and there's always new relationships, new friends you make, I think by heart I'm still a chef, so I'm very interested in culinary things, and wherever I've been, I always try to take some of that in. And being here in the Philippines, after having worked with many Filipinos throughout the world, it's actually nice to see it finally being as authentic as it can be, because I guess trying your first adobo in Bermuda wasn't maybe as authentic as it can be here in Papaya, for example.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh? That he's a chef.
Yeah, and I want to ask, how has being a chef by heart influenced the way you run the hotel, or as a GM for that matter?
I think there is a benefit to it, not necessarily being a chef. I think coming from with an operational background, basically, I think I would put it like that, because I had the chance to work through different departments and really learn the hotel business from the ground up. And I think, there are steps in between where you just need to go through in order to comprehend the complexity of what belongs to run a hotel. And, this takes time. And I think having the opportunity to travel around and fill different positions which help you along the way was for me certainly a key to that.
But I'm sure after all those years of experience, nothing prepared you for the pandemic. So can you tell us a little bit about how you handled that, being the new GM for Clark Marriott at the time when it started?
I think, yes, originally it came as a surprise, I believe, to all of us. I don't think anybody really was prepared for it. I think as a company, it helps to have that safety net, having an international company behind me or behind us, because there's a lot of guidance. And I think it started pretty much very early on that there were lots of phone calls going on, and communication was sent out of, okay, what do we really need to look at first? I mean, it was of the utmost importance was obviously securing associates' jobs. I think that was really the most important thing from the get-go. And we here in Clark, we managed. I think there was a lot of luck involved in that as well, and circumstances. Clark here back in 2020, in early 2020, we have a lot of manufacturing in Clark, and those manufacturing companies basically started housing their staff in the hotels in Clark, because it was decided it's safer to keep them within the Freeport zone rather than having them traveling in and out, which helped us. It really did. April, May, June, I believe even all into July of 2020. We actually had a lot of rooms occupied with manufacturing, basically here from Clark. And I think that was for most of the hotels throughout the country in the Philippines, probably the most difficult time. What didn't help is that you had a lot of ups and downs. And I think, we were, many of us were thinking that we were through the worst probably after the second wave, and we were proven wrong. And I think that is continues to be the biggest challenge, because, every time you believe that restrictions are being lifted for the right reasons, no question about it. It's always about protecting people. You're going back into this phase of building up and really trying to go down full throttle in order to get the message out that the hotel is open, all services are available, and then you have to go back into a hard braking mode. So this became quite difficult, and expectations of customers are very different today, and we might talk about this later a little bit more, than they were 2 years ago.
Right. So travelers' needs and expectations are different, certainly.
Yes. I think one of the biggest changes were in terms of because of the quarantine restrictions, were the addition of stricter safety protocols. What were some of the safety protocols that were in place when you accepted clients?
Well, basically, we went through full certification. There's from the Department of Tourism, they certified basically all hotels in different categories, and we have received that highest certification back in, I believe, at the end of 2020 already, where you were then given the opportunity to decide if you want to operate as a leisure hotel or as a quarantine hotel. And we, at the time, at the end of 2020, really felt that it was time to focus more on leisure, because I think we were maybe a little bit too optimistic that borders would open up within the second quarter, probably, of 2021. Hindsight is always easy, right? So it changed a bit, and I guess we went through another difficult year in 2021, but we made it through that as well. And at the end of 2021, there were really some very positive signs of recovery, and I think as well because mainly our business is local at the moment, restricted by the traveling, international traveling. So therefore, our main business being locals, we could really see people embrace it and went, okay, if that's what's available, then let's explore Clark. And I think many hotels here in the Freeport zone benefited from that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think I can understand that people accepting what was there, because can you imagine not having the buffet experience that you want in a hotel like Clark, Marriott, the food?
There was a lot of, I think, we all have experienced it. There was a lot of changes to it. And I think even, my associates here, the team had to adjust to that as well. Yeah. Because in order to follow the guidelines and protect the guests and the associates alike, the separations, which had to be put up on the buffets, even on the seating areas, the reduction in seating capacity, like really checking, people had to basically use the government-provided app in order to visit the restaurants and fill in the papers initially, and, having stickers everywhere on the floor. There was a lot of things to go through, and I think we had an opportunity initially we opened the restaurant back up in September of 2020, and I think we had about 2-3 months, September, October, November, where we were trialing of how can we manage, how are we going to get those customers which are used to our buffet, how are we going to make them happy, that we now sort of like limit their access to the buffet. And that took a while, and I think towards the end of the year of 2020, we were definitely back to where we were in being able to provide the customers with the quantity of food which they got accustomed to here at the Clark Marriott.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to add new fixtures or amenities? Like I've seen some hotels literally changing their elevators to make it more contactless. What about in your case?
There's a lot of measures in place. Basically, you're speaking about elevators. It is restricted. Signage is up that a maximum of 3 people for an elevator. There's housekeeping. Additionally, every 30 minutes is basically running through the area, disinfecting all the contact areas. The same in the restaurants. Basically, each table, chair has to be disinfected after each use. And, those were extra tasks which we needed to delegate to the associate throughout. And that was all a bit of a learning process. But at the same time, everybody understood how important it is.
Yeah. So as general manager, what have been other interventions that you've done to put Marriott back on track?
Interventions, maybe I wouldn't necessarily use the word, but I think it's really getting the team to refocus, because it was quite a long time, if you look at the last 24 months, where the business which we are having here in the hotel wasn't what it has been when we opened the hotel. We saw a drastic decline in banqueting business. We saw a drastic decline in group business, out of obvious reasons. We saw a drastic decline in foreign travelers. So I believe many of those foreign travelers were very, very familiar with the brand, specifically then choosing to stay in a Marriott hotel when they travel abroad. So I think for us, it was really going back to the drawing board in the last 12 months, trying to see and figure out what do we need to do now in order to let people know that we understand their concerns, what shifted, what changed in the past 12 to 24 months, what's the perception, what's the expectation of those customers, what needs to be different now than it needed to be before the pandemic hit us. So I think that was a process we really went through, and I think this is an ongoing process because we haven't obviously recovered in many of those areas. And I truly believe that areas like group and MICE business, meeting, incentive business, gonna change very, very much to how it has been handled previous to the outbreak of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think restrictions are quite relaxed, although and Omicron, as of today, infections have gone down, but still we need to take extra measure. But with this situation right now, what are you looking forward to in the hotel industry? Like, I think we've done the learning curve. What do you look forward to, at least?
Or how will things change for them from now on? For sure, it will change.
Really, to be honest, I think it's that next level, it's that next step, right? Which we anticipate to start to happen since the third, fourth quarter last year. But then, unfortunately, Delta variant arrived, and now Omicron. So I would think really, what I would look for is easing of traveling restriction. Things like what I just mentioned, the bouncing back of MICE business coming to the Philippines. I'll be honest with you, face-to-face meetings. I think a lot of hospitality and hotel business is based on personal face-to-face interaction. Us sitting here and having a video conference talking about those issues is a very good example. We likely would have had that conversation face-to-face 2 years ago. And I think those are the things I'm really looking forward that they come back. Maybe not to the full extent. I fully understand that as well, that it's not going to be ever the same as before. But I think to really provide that personal service, which the customer going into a five-star hotel expects, there is that personal interaction needed. And that's what I'm looking for. And I think this is something where my team here as well in Clark is, shifting their focus on this because it was different over the last 2 years. People were, so to say, happy to get out and see something else than their own four walls. But I believe once international travel hits back into the hotels, we're really gonna need to step our game up again and need to be prepared in order to provide that service as we did before and more, as the expectations are slightly different.
You have to be ready for that. We'd like to know more. We'd like to hear more from you about this. But for now, let's take a short break. We'll be back.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Si Harry Roque ang pinakamagaling na spokesman, kaya inggit sa kanya ang oposisyon.
Tama lang na ipinaglaban ko ang balik trabaho para bumalik ang kita ng mga nagtatrabaho at naghahanap buhay. Hindi pwedeng magutom ang pamilya. Dapat lang po ingat buhay para sa hanap buhay. Basta trabaho, kita at hanap buhay ang nakataya. Nasa harap niyo po ako.
Ibigay natin ang tudong suporta kay Harry.
Fun and inspiring na kwentuhan? Sagot na yan ang programang Spotlight ng Daily Tribune. Makipagkwentuhan at kilalanin ng iba't ibang personalidad na kilala sa kani-kanilang larangan. Manood at makinig sa mga inspiring stories na kanilang ibabahagi kasama si Dinah Ventura Jojo Silvestre. Be ready ng mamangha at matuwa every Thursday alas 2 ng hapon dito lang sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Welcome back to PairFect. We're still with the General Manager of Clark Marriott, Mr. Goeran Soelter. Hello, Goeran. Welcome back. How is Marriott?
Good to be back.
Yes. How is Marriott building the confidence of guests, clients, and market segments for the new normal? And are you ready?
I think it's...
Are you ready
Sorry,
for foreign tourists now? Are you also ready for foreign tourists?
Yes. I think it's a very short answer. I think, this is what we are aiming for. And, the hotel didn't change. The hotel was purpose-built for that reason. We have a large area, a large banqueting facility to cater for this. Our restaurants, we have total seating of over 300 seats in our different restaurants, which we have here in the hotel. And, for foreign guests to experience that, we are ready, absolutely.
Do you have any special events coming up or?
They just opened a new restaurant.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell us about the opening?
Absolutely, I love to. Thank you. Yes, we are very excited. We opened a new Chinese restaurant, Wu Xing, 2 weeks ago here attached to the hotel, and very proud to say that the opening was very successful. Even though that at the same time we opened the hotel, I believe a day later the additional restrictions were put into place. But I think there's a good amount of interest in the restaurant. I think any addition of quality food and beverage at the moment in Clark is still a good thing. I think Clark is developing very rapidly, but the more variety we can offer, the better it is for the clients and for us who live here as well, obviously. The Chinese restaurant is... We went through a lot of research and development with it, and we had additional time because really the restaurant was supposed to be opening in the beginning of 2021, and everything just got postponed, and delivery times took a lot longer for quite a lot of the equipment. So it ended to be up that we took over the restaurant at late November, and it gave us another 5 weeks to do testing and live tests with for the kitchen and the service staff in order to really be ready for the first paying customer. And the feedback so far has been phenomenal. The focus of the restaurant is really Peking duck. You will see that when you walk into the restaurant. There's a huge Peking duck oven, purpose-built for it, and that is our specialty. I think in pre-opening, our chef Raymond, who is from Hong Kong, he went through something like 120 ducks, roasted them in different ways till he was happy with what he presented to us for the final tasting. And it was very exciting. I mentioned earlier that I was able to travel around the world, and I did open Chinese restaurants in Beijing, matter of fact, for the Olympics as well. One of them was a Beijing duck restaurant, and I was amazed because the quality which we are able to produce so far, I'm very, very happy with. And I think, again, the feedback we're getting so far is great. Now, we truly believe that once these restrictions are being eased, we will see hopefully a large or a big jump in volume, because I think that will help the team as well to get really hitting their stride. It's a beautiful place, concentrates on the 4 main cuisines of China, and it's a nice journey, and it's a nice addition and a nice extra landmark to have here in Clark.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it.
We can't wait to visit and try the duck. Can't
I
imagine.
told you earlier, an hour drive, it's a very easy fix.
GM, how do you see the growth of the hotel industry from the time the pandemic started to now?
Well, there was certainly no growth. I think very understandable. There was a large retraction in the whole industry. Many small and medium-sized places had to close down because they simply were not able to survive 24 months of having literally very little or no business at all. And so it really depends. If you say, what's the outlook for the industry? It depends of when the country can open up back to foreign travelers, to tourism. It was a huge chunk of the GDP. There was a large workforce within the Philippines was relying on that or is relying on that industry. So the sooner it can come back, the sooner this can bounce back. And will there be growth? I think we first have to work through 2022 and 2023 to reach levels of before the pandemic. It will take a little time to go back to build that confidence of customers. And, are we ready? Have we reacted to it? Is the place still the same? Do I really want to check it out? Those are the worries I believe customers are having at the moment, and we as an industry need to be sure that we can send a united message out there that we are ready, and the Philippines are ready to get tourism back on track.
But in what ways are you trying to convince visitors that to build that confidence in guests? Like, aside from protocols, what else have you done? Like, did you have to change anything about the way the hotel is configured or something like that? Like distancing, things like that?
No, we did not. It did not go to this extent. Nothing was reconfigured. We really just followed the protocol of the Department of Tourism, Department of Health, and I believe our track record over the past 2 years of, how this was dealt with, if there were any positive cases, and there were very few, is very, very good. And I think it shows that we embrace those protocols. And, yes, the social distancing is something which I think it's one of the biggest things, and wearing the masks, and people are very, very sensitive to it. And, even in public areas, you have, if there's customers for some peculiar reason that they take off their mask, we have customers even pointing it out to other customers. Obviously, our staff will do so too. And it's sometimes a very, very delicate situation, but I think, again, that's something which everybody needs to learn and understand, that we're responsible for each other.
Okay. Well, I think the Chinese restaurant with the luscious Peking duck, the spa, and all the amenities are enough to lure guests to want to have a stay at Clark Marriott. But with the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I think we managed as well over the past almost 3.5 years since the opening of the hotel. We really tried to establish ourselves as a culinary destination. And, we have our Goji restaurant and bar, we have our Smoky Moto Korean restaurant, which, over the past 3 years established themselves and are ranked number 2 and 1 in TripAdvisor within North Luzon. And I think, that was really the aim of from the onset of establishing those brands. And the same we are now aiming with Wu Sing, because I think we have the know-how and we understand as well how to reach out to our customers and let them know what we have and let them know what new things we have to offer.
Yes. And I think
Chinese New Year.
Of course, the coming month will have a lot of celebrations, from Chinese New Year to Valentine's Day.
Right.
Yeah. What are your
Exactly.
offers and deals for hotel goers who want to book their accommodations already?
Well, there's always a lot of offers out there. We have certain room offers out there. Now through the spring, all the way till the end of March, there's a suite offer going on, where you would book a suite and you get the next night for 50% off. Workation, that's again something which we worked out through the pandemic, where I think with the internet connectivity from hotels, very often we had as well that families came over, and hopefully as soon as the restrictions are eased, and that will happen as well again, that they came with their kids, and as the kids are continue to go to online school, I believe that having a stable internet connection at the right speed here in a hotel like the Clark Marriott Hotel is another added plus, and people quite like that as well. Obviously, food and beverage offers. You just mentioned it. Lunar New Year is coming up. Lots of celebration going on. Our chef really put a beautiful menu together. Luckily, I was just able to try the test run yesterday, I believe, and really excited about it. We did a taste funnel with the whole team, and very colorful, very exciting. Quite a bit different to what we actually have on the regular menu. So I think he tries to be as creative at the moment as he can be. Valentine's is another thing which is coming up. I mentioned earlier Goji and Smoky Moto. Both of those restaurants will be offering special menus for couples to go out and celebrate their romance.
Wow. So a lot of things to look forward to already, keeping the hotel busy. Goran, before we pause for another break, I think we'd like to say hello to our viewers, but do we have some shout out to our viewers right now, or we'll be back for a break first? We'll be back for a break first.
Oh, we have some, but
Yes, you have a lot of fans, Goran, saying hello.
So after the break,
Yes.
we'll be right back.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Oh, vaccination, isolation. Gotta keep up with my nutrition. Gotta maintain my body condition. Then I can take my vaccination. What do I choose? What do I take? As long as it is not a fake. AstraZeneca, Moderna, BioNTech, even Sinovac, okay na. Babakuna ka ba? 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 Vaccination for the nation, no more isolation. With vaccination, babakuna ka ba? 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 Paturok, paturok, paturok.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chirk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Mga impormasyong direktang makukuha mula sa sources at diretsahang usapan. Yan ang atid namin sa inyo sa programang Straight Talk. Samahan nyo kami sa makabuluhang talakayan live tuwing Martes alas 10 ng umaga sa official Facebook page ng Daily Tribune at Tribune Now on YouTube. Mga katribu, tara na't makiisa at matuto sa mga public service programs hatid ng Kalingang Katribu. Tuwing Lunes, nandyan ang usapang business na magbibigay tips at inspirasyon sa mga aspiring entrepreneurs kasama si Vernon Velasco. Tuwing Miyerkules, usapang pangkulusugan naman ang tatalakayin ni Miss Cory Quirino sa Health and Wellness. At tuwing Biyernes naman, kung legal advice ang kailangan mo, sagot ka na ng Legal Diaries kasama si Elmer Navarro Manuel at mga guest lawyers. Lahat ng niya mapapanood tuwing alas 3:30 ng hapon sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Welcome back to PairFect. And now, Francine,
Yes.
let's greet some of our viewers. Ayan. Rochelle, hello.
And saying she'd like to have a staycation in Clark Marriott.
Nicole, yes.
Yes.
Ayan.
Who else? Well, it's all emoji.
Yan,
Miss Florist. Miss you, GM. Yan Florist. Miss you, GM. Who else? Wow. Lots of love.
Thank you for the love.
Yes, Jay
Alright.
Reason. A lot of
Very nice.
heart.
So, before we took a break, I think you were going to start a little
Yes.
game or
Yes.
icebreaker.
So this game is what we call Fast Talk, where we ask you different scenarios, but you have to respond very quickly.
I will try my best.
Well, our first question. If you're not in the hotel industry, what other profession would you have been into?
A teacher of art and math.
Oh. I would have thought chef.
Are those other passions that you have?
They are. And I initially started actually pursue the art bit, but the cooking kind of won.
Yes, which is still a great form of art and creativity.
Yep, agree.
True.
A delicious one at that.
Let's ask him what he cooks, what kind of food.
Yes, what are your favorite dishes? Your specialty chef. Now I call you chef.
That is okay. I still cook. I think it shifted over the years. My wife became a much better cook. I think when I cook, I try to get the whole family involved. My kids are getting involved, and it's just fun as a family activity. And do I have any special things? No, I think they're quite comprehensive dishes when I cook. But it's in the final end really about getting together on the table and enjoying food together. And if I get a smiling face out of it, I'd be quite happy. I think then it was a success.
Good one. Yes. Okay, next question. Your favorite weekend pastime?
Spending time with my kids, for sure. Drinking tea. It's one of my other hobbies I have, collect and drinking Chinese tea. And yeah, I think having a good bottle of wine, that would be another one.
How old are your kids, if we may ask?
9 and 16.
Wow. Still a lot of learning from their dad.
Yes.
Have they expressed any interest in joining in the hotel industry?
No. I think my eldest, she's at the moment on the brink to really decide, okay, what I'm gonna do when I enter college, and it's not going in that direction at the moment. And I think I would, we really encourage her to do her own thing, and if it will be hotel management eventually, then we will support that too. But for now, we will leave that decision up to her and see what's coming up.
And your favorite part of the hotel? It's a question.
The people. The people. You asked me to answer fast, and that's both. I think that's yes, and that's associates, because it's never the same. Every day you come in, it's always something different. And it's usually positive, and if it's not positive, then it's something to work on to turn that around, and that's what makes it exciting every day.
Okay, what's one dish that you look for in a buffet?
Oh, I could give you probably a list of items now. I think normally like roasts. I'm not personally not the biggest friend of seafood. We have a huge selection normally on the buffet, but yeah, for me like roasts, carving stations I like a lot. Local dishes. We have a whole section here of Kampanpangan dishes, which we felt it's maybe not represented well enough, and that's something which we pride ourselves in. And for me, there was a lot of stuff which I had never tried, and I quite like it a lot, to be honest. Sisig, to give you an example, specifically here from the area.
Okay, yes, they have very good sisig.
Your ultimate goal before retiring?
I don't, I think this is as well a shifting thing. I don't have like one goal. I think it's really, doing the things with my family, with my wife, with my children, properly, right, that there's no regrets afterwards. As well, the same thing with work, continue to give back to an extent as well, because I think I was lucky enough throughout my career that I always had people which helped me along the way. And being in the position of a general manager, I think it is now my time to pay that back, and I try to do so. And other people will be hopefully better judges of that than me.
Okay. What is the perfect vacation for you?
I think again it's a whole journey. I couldn't give you like one destination. I think for sure spending it with family is quite important. Making discoveries, adventures, something which I hadn't seen before, something which I hadn't done before. Maybe as well something culinary, doing a cooking class or going to a very unusual restaurant, trying something a bit different, reading a great book. I think it always belongs to a good vacation. Yeah, I think that would cover quite a bit already.
Okay. Yes, and in the midst of the pandemic, your greatest life lesson so far?
I think one of the things which came to me in the past 2 years is that, you only have the chance to do everything once. And, try to do the best way you can. And try not to put anything off. Try not to, put anything back. If there's a plan, you might park it, but never forget about it. And I think that in the last 2 years was really something, not just which helped, but I think it gave a very, very good balance.
Okay, that's a good one. That reminds me of.
Yes.
GM, this is a bit political, but we'd like to know if you were to ask a question to a presidential aspirant as a business leader, what would it be?
I think, again, it has to go towards the industry. It's like, with having gone through the past 24 months, what would be the plan moving forward? Should there be different variants coming up? Are we going to go through the same procedures over and over again, or are there different plans in order to help the industry throughout the country? I think it's not just hotels, get back on track and get back on their feet. Because I think it becomes more and more difficult I was saying that earlier, to do this reboot over and over again. What are the plans for that?
Well, thank you very much, GM. This is all the time we have for now, but we surely want to visit Clark Marriott one of these days.
Please do so. As I mentioned before, it is very fast to get up here. And the hotel is ready. We have rooms. We mentioned that earlier as well available. Beautiful food, and I'll be more than happy to welcome you personally and show you around.
Yes, GM.
Lovely.
Of course, we cannot refuse. But meanwhile, can you give us your parting shot for our viewers? Maybe to encourage them to look forward to some message to our viewers.
Well, if you haven't done so in the past, I would really love to invite you up here to Clark to experience the Clark Marriott Hotel. We have lots to offer. Clark is really a green oasis. We have here in the hotel beautiful food and beverage outlets which we can cater for you, from small parties to very intimate dinners. We have a beautiful pool, we have a spa area, we have a gym, to sort of like cover a lot of bases when you would come up here for a short staycation to Clark. So I hope to see you very soon.
Yes. Well, thank you very much once again, Clark Marriott, General Manager Goeran Soelter, for sharing your story with us. We hope to see you in our future shows.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
So, to our katribu, watch PairFect Live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Daily Tribune's official Facebook page and on Tribune Now on YouTube for the replay of the latest edition.
I am Dinah.
And I am Francine.
And this has been PairFect.